my lovelies, it's me, author Alexandria Infante, coming to you with a new review. So tonight's author is YA author, Donald Firesmith. And his book is called The Secrets of Hawthorne House. And it is a paranormal YA. So now, most of you know that I don't actually read YA. So, as usual, Jen is going to step in and read this. Unfortunately, as usual, she doesn't want to come on the channel. But anyway, so I'm going to read today's review for you, but it's actually Jen's review. So, let me show you again. Once again, here's the cover. And it is author Donald Firesmith, and the book is called The Secrets of Hawthorne House. So, Matt, his twin sister Tina, and his dad moved from Oregon to Hawthorne, Indiana after the death of their mom. She ran a sort of gift shop making bags and candles and that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, she died in a terrible accident. Well, she didn't die in the terrible accident. She fell and she basically hit her head, and it rendered her unconscious. And then she died. They had her on a ventilator, and so the dad decided that he was going to pull the plug to basically let her go on to peace. And so, because of the fact that they lived in Oregon, like the seaside of Oregon, basically everything about the house, living near the beach and all that stuff reminded the dad of his wife. So he couldn't really deal with that. So he decided to move to back home to his childhood place where he lived, where he grew up, basically, and that's called Hawthorne, Indiana. So now, basically, when they move into this house, and it just happens to be next door to this creepy looking house, and it's called the Hawthorne House. So, basically, he goes to school. He goes to his new school, and the first day that he gets there, this guy Dan and his friends, they automatically tried to bully him because he's the new guy or the new kid. And so he was like, yeah, whatever, I'm not having that. And so they got him, and the main bully got into a little altercation with words. And then it was like, so the bully was like, yeah, pretty much I'm gonna beat you up. And so he goes home, and it's like life is pretty boring. And so the dad has a new job, and the job itself is basically, he's like a coder. And unfortunately, he's an older American, so now he has to learn how to do all the stuff that, people half his age are doing. And so it's taking him some time. And so Matt, which is the main character, he's like, he goes to his dad, and he asks him if he has any allowance, or if he could give him allowance, and he's like, no, I'm strapped for cash, basically. The medical bills, the hospital, the move, all of that stuff, I just don't have it. And so he's like, why don't you try getting a job, like a teenage job or whatever? Because Matt wants to buy some video games and, that kind of stuff to pretty much cure his boredom. And then he's like, but I'm only 15. I can't get a job like that. And so the dad's like, basically, like my parents would have told me, get a babysitting job, or, mow lawns, that kind of stuff. And so that's what the dad tells him. And so he's like, okay, but he's pretty much giving him all these excuses as to why he can't do it. And so the dad is like, look at our next door neighbor. I'm sure she needs help because her lawn's overgrown. Her, it's just like a creepy looking house. And so he's like, fine, whatever. And then it's like, so then finally he goes over, and he knocks on her door, and he pretty much, tells her that, he wants to try and make, he wants to help clean her yard or whatever. And so basically she opens up the door and it's got 25,000 million locks on it. And then she doesn't even open the door. She like leaves the security chain on the door. And then she cracks it open and she's like, it's a little old lady. And she's like, what? And then basically he's like, I wanted to know if I could clean your yard for money, blah, 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 blah. And then so she thinks it's a prank because the neighborhood kids, all of the lies and like rumors that they spread about her, and then they egg her house and they, just basically trash her house. And so she thinks it's a joke or like he's trying to pull a prank on her. And he's like, no, I don't even know them. He knew them from school because those are the boys who tried to bully him. And so he's like, no, I'm nothing like them. And then so she goes, okay, I'll test you. And so she's like, work for 1 hour, basically. And if you do well, then I'll hire you. And so he goes out there and he's working and, pretty much building up a sweat. And then within an hour, she like puts out some lemonade, and then finally she comes and she says, she cracks the door open. She's like, okay, you're hired. You worked very well, blah, 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 blah. And then she pays him. And then she tells him that, he can come back he can work 6 hours on the weekend, and then he can work during the week too. Like 2 or 3 hours, or is that what she said? Yeah, I believe that's what she said. And so basically, he starts working for her, and they have this little camaraderie, even though she never comes out to like, hang out with him or talk to him. When he's working, she'll put like out a fresh pitcher of lemonade and just all that stuff. And so basically, so then, like, he's working one day, and then she asked him if he can, like, stay for an extra couple of hours because her niece and her 3 kids are coming, and so she wants the house to look all nice and neat. And so he's like, sure, he agrees, and then, like, he's looking for the kids, but they never show up. And then the next morning when he goes out to the bus, it's like the kids show up, and then he's like, oh, hi, I was looking for you yesterday. And so it's very strange because they're pretty much dressed like Wednesday Addams, and their clothes are like handmade and sewn, and their shoes and all that kind of stuff. And so he gets on with okay, so Gwen is the oldest one, and then Gerald, and then Gavin. Gavin is the baby boy. And so they all become friends, and then Gerald pretty much becomes his best friend. And so they hang out together. They like Gerald basically tells him that he's a witch, but he doesn't believe him because even though his mom was like a spiritualist, because she's like, I think she said he was. Let me find it. Yeah, I think she's like 125th or something like that, Native American. And so she's a spiritualist. She was a spiritualist, but then the dad's an atheist. So when he tells him that he's a witch, he's like, I don't mean like Wicca. I mean like an actual witch. And so he's like, yeah, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so he basically, the first day that Gerard gets to school, the bully, Dan and I don't think she wrote. Okay, she didn't put the other boy's name. But one of the main bullies, his name is Dan. And so him and 2 other boys, they automatically go to like try and bully him. And so they're like, the one kid is poking him in the back, and he's like, yeah, are you a crybaby? Are you a gothic punk? Blah, 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 blah. And he's saying all this stuff to him. And then he says, he basically tells him, poke me again, and it'll be the last poke that you ever poke. And so he doesn't believe him. And so the boy like puts his fingers in his, like between his shirt or whatever. And then he's whispering, and Matt's like, what is he doing? And so he pretty much casts a spell on the kid. And the kid falls forward, breaks his nose, and then breaks his finger. The finger that he was poking him with. And so, so basically, they start to hang out and, have fun together. And then the bully boys pretty much set them up so they get in trouble. And then the rumors around the town is that they'll cast spells on people and that kind of stuff. And so they get into trouble like really bad, where the one kid Dan sets them up, and it's made that the boy Gerald is like extorting people for money, telling them if they don't give him his lunch money, then he's gonna cast spells on them. And then the other boy gets the bullies that were after him from like the beginning of the book. They finally catch him in the locker room. They punch him in the stomach, but he's like, I'm not going down like that. And so he punches the boy Dan in the nose, and then they just set up this big, huge thing and get them in trouble. And then they have to go see the principal, and then they're about to be expelled, and then they get to in schools, detention, suspension, that kind of stuff. And then so they call in their parents, and they get into all this trouble. And then the parents are like, we don't want you hanging out until we figure out what your punishment is going to be. For now, you're grounded, both of you. But then the parents decide to like go to lunch the next day to figure out what punishment is going to be allowed. And so this is where she stops, because she says that there's a lot more. She finished the book, but if she starts to tell you more, then it might ruin the book for you. So she stops there. So she said that, okay, if she had anything to say about this book, she said, one, it was a really good book. She liked the book. It was very, it seemed a little bit grown for a YA, just a little bit. But, hey, my 17-year-old, she acts like she's 40 already. So this would probably be her cuppa. And that basically she would say that this was a YA for like older kids, like 17, 18, like 16, 17, 18, that would basically command more language. And then that if she had to star this book, she would start a good 3.5. So he would get 3.5 stars for this book, because the book flows. It's very good. She didn't see any typos. If she had to say anything that she didn't like, and he could have gotten a 3.75, she said, but he wrote the word Oriental. So now, Jin is Japanese, Chinese, Hawaiian, and Dominican. And she really did not like that word. Oriental is it's a stereotypical, technically racist word. Sorry, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm Chinese, Japanese too, so it's, you can see by my eyes, but it's a racist word. That's like when you say Oriental, when you say exotic, you say those mulatto, words like that are typically from like the 19th century that are BS, and people of those minorities don't like them. So if she said, if anything, please take that out of the book. But other than that, the book gets a 3.5. She would have started at 3.75. But then she said also he wrote tacos as Mexican food, and that's not true either. Tacos do not belong to Mexican people. Mexican people don't have tacos in Mexico. That is an American thing. Someone American made that. They used chili and spices or whatever else, and then was like, oh, this is Mexican food. It's not. You could go to Mexico and ask for tacos, and they would give you them, but only because of the fact that it is an American thing. That's not Mexican food. And then she said the bully scene was annoying and sort of like pissed her off when the principal brought the two boys into the office, and he didn't want to hear anything that they were saying, and he automatically assumed that and talked about the way they were dressed and the fact that they wore dark clothing to school. And she said she didn't like that scene because it was too reminiscent of basically the crap that goes on in school today, which leads to other bad things. So she felt that was pretty biased. So basically she said that if she had to ask the author to take anything out of the book, it would be those three things. Those excuse me, I'll get it right in a minute. Those three things, because she feels like that is going to hinder him, especially with other audiences that aren't Caucasian, because the word Oriental to her is very offensive. Um, it's offensive to me too, because no, it's Asian. If you're going to direct something toward, it's Pan Pacific, Pan Asian, it's Asian. Asian, the title Asian encompasses all nationalities that are Chinese, Hawaiian, Japanese, all of those. So change that. I'm saying that too as the author. Change the Oriental to Asian, because the restaurant, you could say, oh, it had an Asian decor. So that automatically lets people know, what it means. So, and then the tacos part, because that's not Mexican food. That's American food. Mexican people don't eat tacos like that. That's an American thing that they basically pushed on Mexican people. Mexican people are like, yeah, we can make some good old tacos, but that's an American thing. So maybe take those out. But anyway, she said the book was good. She really liked it, and that she would score it a 3.5. Take that stuff out and you'll get a 3.75. And that's pretty much it. Once again, the book is called The Secrets of Hawthorne House. And it is a YA paranormal with witchcraft. There's even a scene, she said, where they were reading tarot cards. Basically, it is YA. She would recommend this for kids older that are like probably 16 and up. 16 to 18, in that range, because it's not an NYA, because NYA, no, that's a different category. You've got sex and that kind of stuff in the NYA. So this is still YA. And so she just feels like, because of the way that it reads, the word choices and that stuff, it would, for someone under 15, well, maybe not nowadays. Who knows because my daughter, when she was 15, she was smart as a bucket, and she liked words like that. She loved books like this that would basically, challenge her intellect. So I think I would say from 15 on, and basically it's like I said, it's a YA paranormal, and it's because of the witchcraft, and she starts at a 3.5. Take those things out and she would give you a 3.75. So, and that's pretty much it. It's called The Secrets of Hawthorne House by Donald Firesmith. And so, my lovelies, tomorrow we will be reading. Let's see who's up next. Okay. We will be reading Blindly in Love by Kalani Black. That is tomorrow's author. And I believe, I don't have all the parameters for it yet. Jen hasn't sent me the, the info, because for each author, she sends the info, the bio, and that kind of stuff. So I'll have an idea of who I'm actually reviewing. And I believe that this is an AA. So AA, in case you don't know out there, AA means African American romance, which basically means two people of color. That is our story tomorrow. So once again, remember, send in those submissions. We need you. We love you. We want you. More romance. More romance. See, I don't write romance myself, but I love to read it. I mean, I'm a paranormal author, but I'm like Donald. There is romance in mine. There's no romance in his because it's YA, but at least I don't think there was. But I write paranormal, but I am a paranormal author first. Like there is romance in my books. Basically, you can pop over to my channel. There's romance. My books could never be NYA or YA or any of that genre. But there is lots and lots and lots of stuff in there, but they are primarily paranormals. I remember when I first tried to brand myself. I was branding myself as a interracial paranormal author, and then I was told by my publishing company that I actually wasn't. I was a multicultural paranormal author. And I was like, okay, but there's love and there's other stuff in here. And they were like, so that's not a romance because your books don't have a happy ever afters. It's like, but they have happy for now. And they were like, so that technically is not a romance. But I'm like, okay. So now I bill myself as a paranormal author. And if someone asks me, then I'm like, yes, there's a lot of drama and a lot of you know what and a lot of you know what. So pop over to my channel. Check out my videos, Teaching Between Midnight and Dawn, A Light Fairy Tale, Bayou Blues, Married to Paranormal Matrimony series, and then some of the contemporaries and historicals, because I do write those too. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, tomorrow's author will be Kalani Black, and we'll be reading Blindly in Love, or we'll be reviewing it. So that's pretty much it, guys. Peace and love. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, send in those submissions. Subscribe to our channel. This is for you. We do these reviews for you, to help you out, to get all of these wonderful YouTube people to see your book and find you. You know, I was in a Facebook group. I said I was leaving, but hey, I was in a Facebook group yesterday, I believe it was, and someone was very upset because he was invited to an author panel. But then when they found out that he was an indie author, they pretty much rescinded the author. And so he was upset, and it wasn't like a rant that, you know, oh, you mother, wasn't like that. It was just like, it was more like heartbroken. Like he was like, you know, shocked and just like, wow, you know, I didn't imagine that they would see me as basically trash or someone, you know, with no talent or whatever. And so he didn't say that, but that's how I have been seen as well. When I was with a publishing company, no one ever said anything. They were, oh my God, that's amazing. You're an author. You're blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, you know, and at the time when I was with my publishing company, I only had 3 books out. I'm an indie author now, and I have 88 titles. You don't get 88 titles from pissing around. And so now when I say I'm an indie author with 88 titles, they're like, oh, that's nice. And it's like, okay, so what was the difference? Why was I more popular when I had the 2 books? Because I was with a publishing company. But now that I'm an indie author and I have 88 books, which is a feat still too. I mean, I know there are huge people, like, I don't even think John Grisham has 88 books. But basically, and so he was just heartbroken, you know, that they would basically pretty much renege and then look upon him like, oh, you're just an indie author. And so this is the main reason why Jen and I started this channel, because I see reviews all over YouTube with, you know, I get the, on my own channel, I get the alerts when reviewers, you know, put up a new review. And none of them ever, hardly ever, put up a review for an indie book. And if they do, 9 times out of 10, they're talking trash about it. So this is the reason why we started this channel. So basically, we could put out love. We could put out, you know, good reviews find your niche, find your readers by doing this, and they're seeing these reviews, and then more authors come on and we do your book as well, because this is giving you a platform to get your recognition as well. So don't forget, tell all your indie friends to come on over. They can submit their books. Just look over there. I believe it's there, or maybe down there. And look for the submission videos. There are 3 of them. Because people kept asking me. They were like, I'm not getting it. So I was like, okay, let me put this up here, because maybe, no, you will. So there's 3 of them. You can watch them all. And then they will each tell you what you need to do to subscribe to our channel. And not subscribe, to submit to our channel. Now, I will be honest with you. If you are a subscriber, you are more likely to get your book read first. We do a poll each week, and we run down the books, and then we put them in their days. Like tomorrow, remember, Monday through Thursday is romance and romance only. Monday through Wednesday is IR and MC romance only. Thursday is Caucasian romance. Friday is everything. Saturday is nothing. And then Sunday is YA. So, if you would like to submit to our channel, pick one of those days, send it to either me, Jen, or Erica, because although they're not on the channel, they're still reviewing books. So, Jenny Panoa, Erica Duquesne, either one of them, or Ali Infante. It's Alexandria, but all my friends call me Ali. Ali Infante. So, basically, I am paranormal, contemporary, historical. Please, someone send me a historical romance. Please. I just love historical romance. I need one. I would really love to read a historical romance. We just did one a couple of week before last, and I really enjoyed it. So, I'm a historical romance writer too, so I love historical romance. So, send me one. One of you guys out there somewhere. And then erotic. I'm cool with erotica too. Jen does YA, horror, and mystery. So if you got horror, mystery, suspense, and YA, make sure you basically tag Jen Ipanoa. And if you are contemporary romance, any stream, whether you're Caucasian or a person of color, it doesn't matter. Erica will read your book as long as it's contemporary. That's pretty much all she reads is contemporary. So, pick one of us, send in your submission, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. So anyway, thanks bunches. Please continue to watch. Please click that button down there and subscribe. We lost somebody. Unfortunately, somebody had to go. So, we're looking to make that happen. So, anyway, subscribe, click that button, and then click that little bell down there too. So, each time we upload a video, you will get it. And you will know that there's a new review out. We thank you guys bunches, and we will see you